grandchildren for the very first time while he still has the chance.
Thomas was admitted to hospital back in May last year when he suffered.
This is, you know, one of the first times you've sort of been able to hear how angry she is.
Took her to TV show sets where he worked as a lighting designer. But when Meghan...
Stop everything. Because the timeline just broke. What if the woman who married into the most powerful royal dynasty in the world wasn't who she said she was? What if the number printed on every glossy magazine cover, every official biography, every royal press release, was off? Not by 1 year, not by 2, but by almost a decade. Tonight, social media is in absolute chaos after an old 1997 issue of 17 magazine resurfaced, listing Meghan Markle's age as 21, at a time when her official records say she would have been 15. Do the math. Because the internet did. And now, screenshots are everywhere.
At One Young World. And in many ways at the time, I was probably a lot like...
College photos from Northwestern University are being dissected like crime scene evidence. Old interviews are being replayed in slow motion. Even her early game show days on Deal or No Deal are suddenly under a microscope. And sources, yes, anonymous insiders, are whispering that behind palace walls, this age debate is not being taken lightly. Meghan Markle, Prince Harry, a royal fairytale, or the most carefully constructed timeline in modern history. Buckle up, because this isn't gossip anymore. This is a bombshell.
Between you two, you're not able to sit with Doria and try and resolve this once and for all.
And here's where things stop being coincidence and start becoming uncomfortable. Because Meghan Markle has never been a stranger to controversy. From the moment she stepped into the kingdom of Valoria beside Prince Harry, critics were already sharpening their knives. The former actress, the ambitious outsider, the woman who, according to palace traditionalists, moved too fast and spoke too boldly. But this is different. This isn't about royal protocol. This isn't about fashion choices. This isn't about who didn't bow correctly at a state dinner. This is about numbers. Cold, hard, unemotional numbers. And numbers don't care about PR teams. Let's rewind. March 1997. 17 magazine. Page 19. A smiling Meghan Markle, bright-eyed, fresh-faced, featured in a small column spotlighting rising campus creatives.
Imagine being so hated by the magazine editor that wanted to turn you into a star that in their cover...
Next to her name, age, 21. No blur. No typo correction. No approximate. Just printed, distributed, archived. But according to her official royal biography, the one repeated at her wedding to Prince Harry, Meghan Markle was born in 1981, which would make her 15 years old in March 1997. 15. Now pause. 15-year-olds don't get described as emerging college talents. 15-year-olds don't usually attend late-night arts galas photographed with university seniors. 15-year-olds don't appear in campus magazines next to students graduating the following year. So how did 21 end up in ink? Was it a publishing mistake? Maybe. Was it a misprint? Possible. But here's where the temperature rises. Because when internet archivists, yes, they exist and they don't sleep, started digging deeper, they found something else. Old Northwestern University yearbooks, group photos, event programs. And in nearly every single image, Meghan Markle is surrounded by classmates who, based on public alumni profiles, were born in the early 1970s. Not 1981. Early 70s. That's a 10-year difference. Now sure, universities have mature students, graduate students, people returning after career breaks.
For her. She didn't respond back. No, we've had no conversation.
That's normal. But these weren't grad seminars. These were freshman mixers, undergraduate theater productions, student leadership councils. And in photo after photo, Meghan Markle doesn't look like the kid sister tagging along. She looks like one of them. Same stage of life, same energy, same era. And here's the part no one can ignore. When the screenshots of 17 magazine resurfaced last week, palace insiders reportedly went into containment mode. Phones lit up. Public relations advisors were called into emergency meetings. One anonymous staffer, who claims to have worked adjacent to the royal communications team, allegedly said, "Let's just say this isn't being laughed off." Not laughed off. Not dismissed as internet nonsense. Handled. Quietly. Strategically. Because here's the reality. Meghan Markle didn't just marry a prince. She became a symbol. A modern royal.
The Meghan and Harry haters are especially quiet today. I would have expected more outrage from the same people who had a full-blown meltdown when Meghan baked
A narrative of reinvention. From deal or no deal briefcase model to humanitarian icon. From Suits supporting actress to global philanthropist. And in every version of that story, her age was part of the branding. The young disruptor. The fresh face shaking tradition. The next generation of monarchy. But what happens if the timeline shifts? What happens if that next generation wasn't quite as next as advertised? Suddenly, every milestone feels different. Her casting on Suits. Her rise in Hollywood. Her whirlwind courtship with Prince Harry. It doesn't erase them, but it reframes them. And in public life, reframing is everything. Because image isn't just about who you are. It's about when you were. And right now, the internet is asking a question the palace never expected to trend. Was Meghan Markle's fairy tale built on a date that doesn't add up? And if so, who knew? And how long have they known?
Their latest Netflix series, calling their business ventures here in the States flops.
Oh, it gets deeper. Because what started as a dusty magazine page has now turned into something much louder, much messier. And according to multiple anonymous insiders, the kind who claim to have seen internal correspondence, this isn't just an internet theory floating around for clicks. It's a narrative management crisis. Let's talk about the so-called leaked memo. 3 days after the 17 magazine screenshot went viral, a document allegedly circulated within the Valiant Communications office. No official letterhead. No signature. Just bullet points. Reaffirm 1981 timeline. Redirect focus to current philanthropic initiatives. Do not engage directly with archival discrepancies.
I don't think there's ever been anyone in the public eye or public figure out there who I have rooted.
Archival discrepancies. That's a very polite way to describe the internet holding a magnifying glass to your entire life story. Now, is this memo verified? No. But that hasn't stopped it from being shared thousands of times, dissected frame by frame, font analyzed like it's the Zapruder film of royal PR. And here's where things start to feel cinematic. Because right as the debate exploded, old footage resurfaced of Meghan Markle during her deal or no deal era. In one clip, a host jokingly asks her how it feels to be one of the older, wiser briefcase girls. She laughs, calls herself seasoned. At the time, no one blinked. Now, that single word is being replayed like it's code. Seasoned. What did she mean? Seasoned compared to who? Meanwhile, Trevor Engle's son, the ex-husband who built his reputation producing dramatic legal thrillers, has once again chosen silence. No tweets. No interviews.
Let's talk a little bit about branding, Meghan Markle, and why I hate this magazine cover. Ahead of her show.
No cryptic Instagram captions. Just quiet. And that quiet is deafening. Because if anyone shared private birthdays, driver's licenses, and cake candles during those early Hollywood years, it would have been him. Instead, sources close to Trevor Engle's son allegedly say he's not interested in relitigating the past. Relitigating. That's an interesting choice of words. As if there's a case. As if there's something to reopen. And then there's Thomas Markle, the father. In a recent local radio appearance, small station, barely picked up nationally, he was asked directly about Meghan Markle's early years. The question was simple. What year was she born? There was a pause. A noticeable one. He pivoted. Talked about her childhood talent shows instead. Now, maybe he was nervous. Maybe he didn't hear the question.
One was taken to hospital on Tuesday after falling ill at his home in the Philippines. It's understood he underwent surgery on Wednesday and...
Or maybe the timeline isn't as clean as the glossy wedding broadcast made it seem. Public reaction has split straight down the middle. Supporters are calling it misogyny. Why does her age even matter? They ask. Critics say transparency is the point. And in the middle of it all, hashtags are climbing. #Hartwell timeline, #royal math, #do the numbers. This isn't fading. It's escalating. Because when you mix royalty, reinvention, and a number that refuses to sit still, you don't get silence. You get a storm.
2026, when the atmosphere on North Rodeo Drive shifted from its usual hushed luxury to something far more...
And just when it felt like the storm had reached its peak, the palace moved. Not with a press conference. Not with a denial. With a photo. At exactly 7:12 a.m. the official Veloian account posted a throwback image. Meghan Markle as a child, sitting on a picnic blanket beside her father, Thomas Markle. The caption? 1986, Santa Myra. 5 years old and already dreaming big. 5 years old. Do the math. If that photo is from 1986 and she was 5, that places her birth in 1981. Clean. Neat. Intentional. Except the internet doesn't do neat. Within minutes, users were zooming into the image like digital detectives.
Limited edition, which ones are going to be in steady state? What really is the brand identity beyond?
The fashion blogs noticed the sneakers, a specific model that, according to collectors, wasn't widely available until late 1987. A toy visible in the background, released in early 1988. Coincidence? Maybe. But when a controversy is already burning, even smoke looks like fire. Then came the bombshell nobody expected. A former junior staffer from the Santa Myra School District, now retired, allegedly posted on a private forum that Meghan Markle had been in her daughter's grade. The graduation year mentioned? Which would suggest a birth year closer to 1980. It was deleted within hours. But screenshots? They live forever. Suddenly, this isn't just about a magazine typo. It's about timelines colliding. And the silence from Trevor Engle's son?
Netflix, they're practically giving away her jams and jellies because nobody wants them. Now,
still unbroken. The silence from the palace? Strategic. The silence from Meghan Markle herself? Absolute. No Instagram stories. No polished statement about women being defined by numbers. Nothing. Which, in today's digital age, feels almost louder than any denial. PR experts are divided. Some say engaging would legitimize a baseless rumor. Others argue that when inconsistencies stack up, 17 magazine, the school forum, the seasoned comment, the 1986 photo, ignoring it fuels the fire. Because here's the truth. Reinvention is powerful. Hollywood thrives on it. Royal branding demands it. But when your entire public persona is built on precision, every word curated, every image filtered, every timeline polished, even a single crack becomes a headline. Is this a harmless discrepancy inflated by bored internet sleuths? Or is it evidence of something carefully adjusted long before a tiara ever entered the picture? The bigger question might not be what year was she born. It might be, why does the answer feel so guarded? Because people don't obsess over numbers unless they sense resistance. And resistance? That creates curiosity. Curiosity creates clicks. Clicks create narratives. And narratives, once they escape into the wild, are nearly impossible to pull back. So now the world waits. For a clarification. For a denial. For a laugh-it-off interview moment. Anything. Until then, the timeline remains elastic. And in the age of receipts, screenshots, and digital memory, elastic stories snap the loudest.
On breathing. Then, almost as an aside, he mentions that Meghan received an epidural, and later, another one.
So now I'm asking you, not as a fan, not as a critic, but as someone watching this unfold in real time, is this a harmless mix-up blown out of proportion by internet detectives who need a new hobby? Or is this something bigger? Because let's be honest, when timelines start shifting, when childhood photos suddenly appear at 7:12 a.m., when old interviews resurface with words like seasoned echoing louder than they ever did before, it doesn't feel random. It feels calculated. And calculation invites suspicion. Some of you are saying, who cares? Age is just a number. Others are saying, if everything is transparent, why not just say it clearly and end it?
Thomas Markle started speaking about his daughter's early life, the picture became even stranger. This wasn't gossip, it wasn't internet chat.
That's the divide. That's the tension. That's why this isn't fading. Because this was never just about a birth year. It's about branding, control, narrative power. When someone builds an empire on precision, even the smallest inconsistency feels intentional. So I want to know where you stand. Is Meghan Markle the victim of obsessive online scrutiny? Or is this a carefully managed story that finally hit a loose thread? Drop your thoughts below. But think before you type, because once you choose a side, you're part of the narrative too. And trust me, this story, it's not over.